জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী গোপী জন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী গোপী জন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় গোপী জন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী জয় গোপী জন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. जाएंगे इस बात परमहंस परिव्राज गच्छति अष्टोत्तर सत्सु श्रीमद् इस डिवाइन ग्रेस से इसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, इस्कन फाउंडर आचार्य डिवाइन ग्रेस से इसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रेम जी को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोविंदनाथ श्याम राधा कृष्ण गिरिवर्धन की जय, श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय, महाप्रचंद धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, जगन्नाथ स्वामी की जय, गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय, तुलसीदेव भक्ति देव की जय, दयाल लॉर्ड शिव श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, and all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. This morning we are reading from Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 13, titled First Step in God Realization. Katwanga Nama Rajarishi Gyatva Yatam Iha Ayusa Muhurtat Sarvam Usrijya Gatavan Abhayam Harim Katwango Nama Rajarsi Katwango Nama Rajarsi Gyatvetam Ihayusa Gyatvetam Ihayusa Muhurtat Sarvam Utsriya Muhurtat Sarvam Utsriya Muhurtat Sarvam Utsriya Gatva Gatavan abhayam harim. Gatavan abhayam harim. Katvanganam rajarsi. Katvanganam rajarsi. Gyatvayatam ihayusaha. Gyatvayatam ihayusaha. Muhurtat sarvam utsrijya. Muhurtat sarvam utsrijya. Gatavan abhayam harim. Gatavan abhayam harim. Yes. Katwanga, King Katwanga, Nama, name, Rajarishi, saintly king, Gyatva, by knowing, Yatam, duration, Iha, in this world, Ayusha, of one's life, Muhurtat, within only a moment, Sarvam, everything, Usrijya, leaving aside, Gatavan, had undergone, Abhayam, fully safe, Harim, the personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The saintly King Katwanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the Supreme Safety, the personality of Godhead. Responsibly, please, as it is. The saintly King Katwanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the Supreme Safety, the personality of Godhead. Purport. A fully responsible man should always be conscious of the prime duty of the present human form of life. The activities to meet the immediate necessities of material life are not everything. One should always be alert in his duty for attainment of the best situation in the next life. Human life is meant for preparing ourselves for that prime duty. Maharaj Katwangi is mentioned herein as a saintly king because even within the responsibility of the state management, he was not at all forgetful of the prime duty of life. Such was the case with other Rajarishis, saintly kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir and Maharaj Parikshit. They were all exemplary personalities on account of their being alert in discharging their prime duty. Maharaj Katwang was invited by the demigods in the higher planets to fight demons. And as a king, he fought the battles to the full satisfaction of the demigods. The demigods, being fully satisfied with him, wanted to give him some benediction for material enjoyment. But Maharaj Katwanga, being very much alert to his prime duty, inquired from the demigods about his remaining duration of life. This means that he was not as anxious to accumulate some material benediction from the demigods as he was to prepare himself for the next life. He was informed by the demigods, however, that his life would last only a moment longer. The king at once left the heavenly kingdom, which is always full of material enjoyment of the highest standard, and coming down to this earth, took ultimate shelter of the all-safe personality of Godhead. He was successful in his great attempt and achieved the liberation. This attempt, even for a moment, by the saintly king was successful because he was always alert to his prime duty. Maharaj Parikshit was thus encouraged by the great Sukadev Goswami, even though he was only 7 days, even though he had only 7 days left in his life to execute the prime duty of hearing the glories of the Lord in the form of Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By the will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit instantly met the great Sukadev Goswami, and the great treasure of spiritual success left by him is nicely mentioned in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayate Girim Yat Kripatamaha Vande Shri Guru Dinatarane Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devim Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavade Pasyatya Desatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The saintly King Katwanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead. So the prime responsibility of the mankind is not, Prabhupada in the beginning has mentioned very clearly that one thinks that the material obligation is the prime, that fulfilling the material obligation one can execute one's prime service. But the purpose of the mankind is that one should make the arrangement for the next, how he can promote himself to go home back to Godhead. That should be the one's prime goal. Material obligation is there, that anybody and everybody fulfills. Even though a poor man he tries his level best to fulfill the material obligations to his family. But that's not the purpose of the mankind. The purpose of the mankind is to achieve the love of God, to go back home, back to Godhead. And on top of that, those who become highly Krishna conscious or highly realized or topmost devotee, the going home back to Godhead for them becomes very insignificant. In other words, the mukti or liberation becomes very insignificant for them. They keep that aside. Showing their compassion, they try to bring so many conditioned souls to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. That becomes their prime duty, because liberation becomes, since they are so highly spiritually advanced, liberation becomes insignificant for them. So, understanding this, our prime business is that we should try to become Krishna conscious, and not only that, just we should try to bring as many conditioned souls as it is possible to the lotus feet of Lord Hari, even though we are not highly advanced. We should try our best, because the prime duty of the mankind is just that one should at least try to go home back to Godhead. So here Srila Prabhupada has given very nice example of Maharaj Katwanga, who is a Rajarishi, who is a great devotee of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. At the same time, he was a powerful king, and he was, because of his execution, the demigods, there was a big fight, because there is always big fight between demigods and demons. Demon by nature is always envious of the Supreme Lord, so does his devotees. And as we know, there is no comparison between spiritual and material. The spiritual side is always higher than the material. So the demons, they have achieved so many powerful strength because of their tapasya or because of their austerity, but that is all material. But whereas the devotees or the demigods, even though they have material attributes or so many material accumulations, their planets are opulent, so many opulences are there, but still they are great devotees of the Lord. So, therefore, they are at the side of the Supreme Lord. So, seeing the opulences of the demigods, the demons become very envious. There is an article in BTG, it just says, the fire in the paradise, because there's always big fight between demons and demigods. So Maharaj Katwanga was invited, and then he came and he fought valiantly. Prabhupada says the word used valiant. He fought valiantly in favor of the demigods. And he executed his duties very perfectly. In other words, he defeated very badly the demons. And being pleased, the demigods, they wanted to give the boon. And as I mentioned, the demigods, they have achieved so many material opulences. So they wanted to give some material opulences to the demons, to Maharaj Katwanga. But Maharaj Katwanga, being a Rajarishi, he was alert about his prime duty. As Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, the first two sentences, one should always be alert in his duty for attainment of the best situation in the next life. So that's what Maharaj Katwanga was alert about. He was very much alert about his prime duty. So therefore Maharaj Katwanga asked the next question was, what is his duration after the battle was won by him or in his generalship? And then he thought that definitely he should inquire about that, because he wanted to go home back to Godhead or prepare for his next. In fact, the moment the demigods, they mentioned that only a movement is left. Only a movement is left for, So mamcho yo vyabhicharana bhakti yogena sevate saguna samadvidaitan brahma bhuyaya kaupade. So it is the prime business of a person who has only a moment that he should think, what should I do exactly? What is my duty? Immediate duty means immediately he should give up everything. Give up everything and try to think of the Supreme Lord or meditate upon the Supreme Lord. That's why Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that Maharaj Parikshit was asking to Sukadeva Goswami that is it sufficient for me these 7 days by hearing Krishna Katha that I will be able to go home back to Godhead? In fact, Srila Sukadeva Goswami has mentioned this is more than sufficient. Therefore, Maharaj Katwanga's situation is very ideal. In the sense, what he did, immediately he gave up his kingdom, his family, his responsibility, his everything, he sacrificed. Immediately he meditated upon the personality of Godhead, and finally he got the liberation. Means he went back home, back to Godhead, took refuge at the lotus feet of Lord Hari. So, otherwise, if we do not know what will be our next destination. Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janamam. So, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, old age and disease. These four factors will try to devour us. We do not know just what will happen in our next destination. It reminds me from Mahabharata, that the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Kaurava brothers were always envious of Pandavas. They became always envious. Instead of thinking about the Supreme Lord, or instead of thinking about serving their Guru and Krishna, they were always thinking about how to achieve the kingdom. In other words, the material part became so prominent. They became from very beginning like unwanted weeds. From very childhood, the Kaurava 100 brothers, they became envious of the Pandavas. From very beginning they started, very childhood, Duryodhana made the plan to give poison to Bhima. But because of the Pandavas being the devotees of the Supreme Lord, so they were always protected by the Supreme Lord. And at the end of their education, when their spiritual master Dronacharya wanted their Guru Dakshina. What is Guru Dakshina in English? Guru Dakshina is they pay the what is that? Tribute to the spiritual master. So, after giving education, Dronacharya knew very well who is what, how are the Pandavas and how are the Kauravas. So therefore, Dronacharya said, my Dakshina is nothing else but I want you Kauravas first go and capture Drupada and bring it back to me. That will be your Dakshina, or that will be your tribute to me. So the Kauravas went and fought against Drupada. They got badly defeated and returned back because of they were lacking from devotion. But Yudhishthira became very upset. He said, I am the elder brother and I should be sent first, O Gurudev. But Dronacharya satisfied Duryodhana and then he said, okay, I know what I am doing exactly, so he sent later on. So there was a big fight, all four brothers, Yudhishthira, Bhim, Nakula and Sahadev, they were fighting with their generals and other soldiers, and Arjuna went and captured Dronacharya in the name of, he said, I am capturing you in the name of Dronacharya and I am taking you to our spiritual master. So, because of their devotion, they captured Dronacharya, they captured Drupada and then brought to Dronacharya and they paid their tribute or paid their Guru Dakshina. Thus, in this way, they satisfied their spiritual master. Satisfying the spiritual master means satisfying the Supreme Lord also. So the point is that if we try to remain in the false pride or falsely remain, even though we have been serving, even though we are trying to render devotional service, try to achieve our name, fame, distinction, address and prestige falsely. Mam Choyu Bhavicharan. What is that next one? What is that next sloka? No. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam rishikesa rishikena sevanar bhakti ruchate. Sarva upadhi. Upadhi means title. The false designation. If we try to achieve name, fame, distinction, address and prestige by falsely and try to get our falsely name, fame, distinction, address and prestige, that's not going to work. I think I gave before the example of King Pondrak. He fixed two arms and he tried to pose himself as Krishna, but it didn't work. So falsely we try to pretend ourselves we are something, that we are very advanced devotee or we are nice devotee or we are doing nice work. It's not going to work. Krishna knows. He is sitting within our heart, Chaita Guru, and He is seeing everything, directing also. And the way we try to wish ourselves, Krishna says, so be it. In other words, Tathastu. As you surrender to me, I will reward you accordingly. So he tried to say Tathastu. And within the Tathastu, the Lord knows exactly, just if we don't try to render devotional service properly, then we are not going to be the winner. We are not going to be the winner. Means the purpose of our mission will not be successful. In other words, the purpose of our life that we have to achieve, the love of God, we cannot achieve. So therefore, here Srila Prabhupada says very nicely, this attempt, even for a moment, by the saintly king was successful because he was always alert to his prime duty. So let's not forget about our prime duty, that why we have come to this moment. What is the purpose of coming out to this moment? Why we are spending time here? Even though we are chanting Hare Krishna, praying to their Lord Shri Radha Govinda Dev, worshipping Srila Prabhupada, worshipping our spiritual master. We are trying to remember all the glorious pastimes of the Lord and His pure devotees. We are trying to, trying to become encouraged, become enthused, but at the same time unwanted weed is within our heart, that just I'm something, I'm this, I'm that. So that is not going to work. So therefore, exclusively we should try to spend our time without wasting, without failing, without interrupting, without having differentiation, without having grudge, without having any kind of obstacle that which will become obstacle on our path of devotional service. We must try to execute the devotional service nicely. Because nirbandha Krishna sambandha yuktam vairagya muchyate. Nirbandha Krishna sambandha. In relation to Krishna, everything we should try to execute 100%. Then our devotion will increase, or will make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise we cannot. By the will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit instantly met the great Sukadeva Goswami, and the great treasure of spiritual success left by him is nicely mentioned in the Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, Maharaj Parikshit met Sukadeva Goswami, who is completely pure, who remained in his mother's home for 16 years. He didn't want to see the dualities of the material world, and he didn't want to come out from the mother's home. And Krishna, therefore Vasudev went to Krishna, and he said, and he invited Krishna to come to ask Sukadeva Goswami to come out of his mother's home. And when he came out, after coming out, he was running from his father. He was running. He didn't want to become attached to this material world. So he was completely pure. And in a pure state, when he gave the answer to Maharaj Parikshit, and the legacy was left, and that is Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the Supreme Lord to enlighten us in this dense dark age of Kali. So this is what we are trying to discuss all about. So our devotional service should not have any other motivation. We should not have any other. Anya Vilasana Sunyam. Sunyam means completely zero. There shouldn't be other abhilasa or ichcha or desire. There should not be any other desire other than just rendering devotional service. Then talk of our tone will change, our mind will change, our walk will change, our talk, our every action will change, and automatically we will be attracted by others. And let me give you another example, how one can be attracted by others. Again I am coming back to Mahabharata. After losing the dice game, of course it was Sakuni's treachery. So the Pandavas lost everything, and therefore the Pandavas went to the forest for how many years? 12 years plus 1, 13 years. And even though they became Sarvahara, Sarva means all, Hara means taken away by the Lord. Hari means he who takes away. At the same time, Hari means he who gives everything also. So they became Sarvahara, they lost everything. And they went to the forest. And because of their devotional qualities, they were attracted by the subjects of Hastinapur. And the Brahmanas, the Munis, the Rishis, the subjects, they all followed Yudhishthira Maharaj. Even though he became Sarvahara, even though he became, nothing was there with him. So finally, by the request of Yudhishthira Maharaj, the subjects of the Prajas, they returned back, and the Munis and Rishis, they remained, the Brahmanas, they remained with him, and still he was in anxiety how to maintain them by the causeless mercy of Savita or Surya. So he got that beautiful copper pot, and then copper vessel which fulfilled all the desires, feeding them by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So the point is that when we make advancement, our devotional qualities will be increasing, or we are getting sadhu bhushanam. Bhushanam means decoration and sadhu means saintly. So the saintly person's decoration is their spiritual qualities. The women's decoration is after their marriage, beautiful necklace, beautiful earrings, beautiful nothinis, beautiful bangles, beautiful saris, beautiful all these things. For the pleasure of their husband, they try to decorate themselves. So likewise, the saintly persons, they become decorated with bhushanam, means decorate with their saintly qualities. So when one achieves these saintly qualities, in other words, have spiritual gain, so the talk of the tone, the walking, talking, moving, every action becomes very charmful and it attracts others. It attracts others. Otherwise, if we try to remain falsely, it won't attract. So therefore also, likewise, the younger mothers should get training within our movement in such a way, their walk, their talk, their behavior, the way of serving, way of talking. It is explained in Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam when the Supreme Lord became Mohini Murti, Prabhupada has mentioned very nicely. Her doe eyes were moving one side to another, her beautiful teeth half showing like bimba fruit, and it was very attracting. And her way of wearing the sari and way of wearing the ankle bell, it was doing the runajunam, Prabhupada has mentioned. It was, ankle bell was, twinkling, and then she was so attractive. Her every action became very attractive. So the demons became so enamored, they completely surrendered. Oh my dear Sundari, they addressed, they didn't know the name. That she in disguise the Supreme Lord. So just say, here is the nectar, you please take it. It is at your disposal, and you do whatever you like. You do whatever you like, you give whoever you like. So the point is that, so the charm of the women becomes like that. And Prabhupada gives a nice example. There was one servant Mataji. Two persons, they were standing at the door and they were talking, and the Mataji putting her pallu on her head, she was standing. And she was standing there, she was not trying to cross. When two persons, they were talking at the door, between the two, she didn't want to cross. So finally what happened? So when they saw the servant Mataji's standing there, they became alert and they said, oh! So they let her pass by. Then Srila Prabhupada makes the comment, he says, this is called chastity. This is called chastity of the women. She was so sober, even though she's a servant woman, she's a servant, but still her charm was showing, her chastity was showing, covered her head, she was shy, and she was not trying to say aggressively, just I want to pass by to execute my service. She was humbly standing there. So the thing is that We all has to be very alert for our own spiritual qualities. And then, when we become alert, just like Maharaj Katwanga, our advancement will increase and we will think about the Supreme Lord. In this way, we can go back home, back to Godhead. I will stop here. Anybody has questions? We still have 10 minutes. No question? Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Dear Lord Sri Śrīrādha Govinda Dev ki jai. Nidai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.